All right, let's kick this thing off here. Good morning, Mr. Blue here. Welcome. Mic check. Mic check. Should be able to do here. See the screen, all that. Audio, visual. Welcome, Mr. Blue here. TradePhantoms.com. Live trading and analysis session. I'll go through about an hour prep, give or take, for the tube here. And what am I also on right now at the moment? Instagram or what have you, streaming here. Today's date, of course, July 24th. 2025 brings us to a Thursday. Hopefully, everybody is having a good trading week. Tape is going. Markets at all-time highs. Relentless. So, yeah, let's dive into that. Let's see what today has to offer. A couple things here, just really briefly. Just starting off here. Today being Thursday, the 24th. Just an economic calendar here. 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As you can see here, we have USD, Flash Manufacturing PMI, and Flash Services that comes out 15 minutes after the market open. This is all Eastern here. So definitely noteworthy there in regard to impact. It's kind of a folder, at forexfactory.com, just a very basic website, kind of lets you know how powerful, or I should say how impactful, not powerful, impactful a news announcement would be or may not be, lack thereof. So therefore, that's kind of red there, highlighted there. So that's a market mover potentially, right? So that's 15 minutes off the open there. So keep that in mind. That's pretty much ends the week for the most part. Tomorrow, at least in the U.S., we got some durable goods, etc. I know in Forex, which I love trading Forex as well. Love me some Forex. Busy this morning, overnight in the U.S. at least. But yeah, the European and the pound and the euro had many announcements there. So I guess some things there, short dollar, etc. But I don't want to get into that right now. We'll start off with futures. But before I do that too, just note we did have a couple of earnings, big names, a couple of them. Earnings are just kind of getting started here. However, yesterday being Wednesday, after the close, we had Tesla. Okay, that's a big one there. And we also had Google. All right. And we can also have IBM. So I'll get to those charts in a moment too. Ended up staying out of them for the most part. So, I just kind of decided, it's not about me, but, I just quickly decided, I'll just let the earnings kind of come out. Usually I'll play some earnings on some of the big names. I really couldn't work something out to what I liked in terms of risk to reward. So I just said, I'll just, see what tomorrow offers, whether they gap up, gap down. I'll get to the charts, but of course, but IBM, I'm looking, that's actually gapping down into a level, which is good because I actually wanted IBM to come down so I could buy it in my kind of long-term IRA, long-term investing style, not just kind of like a speculative trade earnings play. So, that's going to be interesting there. I'll see if I can try to touch upon that here today for the YouTube, but definitely for Phantoms members, I'm going to be diving in to that a bit more detailed in regard to kind of what I'm looking at. But that said, we can dive into the charts for right now. Of course, I will pop open the Tesla, Google, and IBM as well at some point today. I go over pre-market prep and I trade Tesla. I don't want to say every day, but for the most part, it's a high probability chance that I'll be trading some Tesla. Anyways, I'll start this off more formally here. We got, as always, as the backdrop for demand and supply is the strategy, institutional demand and supply, that is the main strategy for Phantoms. Okay. And I bring this up for Phantoms no matter where I am, no matter what, every day. Top-down, multiple time frame analysis approach. Monthly, weekly, daily. You're going to see a lot of orange, yellows, and blues on my charts. Everything that you see in orange has to do with the monthly time frame. Weekly is going to be a yellow color code. Daily time frame association is going to be a blue color code. So anything in blue has to do with the daily time frame. Everything in yellow, weekly, monthly, orange, so on and so forth. Candlestick analysis here. It's just one piece of the puzzle. But all these fancy names, great, but location and context, okay, is going to be more important. Okay, same thing here. Bearish candlesticks, a bunch of fancy names for bearish candlesticks. However, context, okay, and location is going to be most important regarding those. All right, and we get the liquidity map here, which I parked to the left, and that usually comes up a couple times here. We use this as a foundation of everything that we do in regard to buying and selling in this marketplace. Understanding the right side in ride. Okay, that's done. So now we can go over and hop over into the futures just really briefly. Thinkorswim, I got monthly, weekly, daily here, but I'm going to click over just really briefly to the major four indexes of futures. And as you can see here, we got the S&P futures upper left. I know you can't even see the charts here. NASDAQ upper right, Dow Jones lower left, Russell 2000 small caps trying to work out a little something there, trying to actually join the party, right? But essentially, Nasdaq and the S&Ps just continue to pop these new highs. Yesterday in the SPX, it just popped. There's just a path of least resistance, nothing to the up and left. We just keep on popping new highs. Yes, indeed. Okay, for the record, want to make sure to noteworthy that at some point, yes, we're going to have some kind of bigger correction going into August and September. Kind of seasonality wise, it's typically a little more, I would say, drawdown or pullbacks. Typically in markets, seasonality wise, it's only July 24th, so we'll see. All right, in the midst of economic news and earnings starting to kick off here, we also have in the backdrop, of course, tariff negotiations and deals, so on and so forth. Don't want to get too much into that. I'm sure y'all are already kind of sick of hearing that for the most part, coming, as we approach the August of this year. But it's just something that we have to deal with going forward, at least for the next couple of months, right? So we'll see how that works. Anyways, getting to what's more important here. What are the charts telling us to begin with? Anyways, as you can see, daily time frame S&P futures right now they're basically flat. Okay, basically flat. 0.02%, up 1.25%, nothing. Okay, so a little red bar here, right? A little open here, slightly down, just a couple ticks, no big deal. Off the back of yesterday's kind of big pop. Okay, nice little big pop there. So I've been discussing how, along with Phantoms members, it's like, yeah, I know this market seems kind of fairly high, and at some point it's going to probably drop. But the buy setups just continue to unravel and follow through and continue. So we have to continue that party until that party is, and at some point, inevitably over, until we have some kind of a shift or catalyst that's going to potentially change just the law of inertia. Things travel in motion until equal to or greater force. Now, there's nothing of supply to the upper left to kind of stop this thing, right? Objectively, right? So you just kind of just pick a number, right? Pick a number and say, hopefully it would be the all-time high, and then have some kind of bigger pullback. So, that's not the camp that I'm in. I'm not here to try to guess what the all-time high is, okay? But so therefore, I'm going to milk as much as I possibly can regarding these bullish setups. Okay, we can use options and gamma and positioning in options to kind of help us get some insight. Okay, on where some kind of levels of supply could potentially be above that current price. Okay, that would be a little more advanced where we would go into, which I'm not going to get into right now. We can go in here where we can see how options are laid out above the current price. Okay. So that's kind of basically what we get, or Fibonacci extensions, things like that. Bollinger Bands outside of 2 standard deviations. There's just certain things. There's only a couple things that we can use in regard to where this market may, just kind of putting that little short-term top there, at least for a moment. But we don't need to call that right now, right? So we'll see. We've been riding this 20-pip moving average, right? Great. Early part of this week, right? Last week had a nice little strong close. This week so far we've just been kind of not really much movement. Right, as you can see, the Monday is what the 21st, which is basically right there. Right, that's Monday, Tuesday. Yesterday being Wednesday, today's Thursday. Kind of just a slow kind of grind, and then yesterday finally we got like a nice little pop. Right, so we had a little bit of a pullback on Monday off those new highs. Okay, then we swiped down, put in a hammer bar. Okay, on the S&Ps in Nasdaq, and then yesterday we had what's called a follow through regarding that. All right, I'll drop down the smaller time frames. We'll map out what's called our levels of demand below, and we're going to look for what's called a G trap, which is going to be below the overnight low, which I will update in a moment. Okay, so there's that. We got Nasdaq, almost the same kind of thesis and story, if you will. Now Nasdaq has been extremely more stronger over the past, I'd say, late June into now kind of early into mid July. Nasdaq did not pop out a new high along with S&Ps yesterday. Nasdaq futures here, daily time frame, by the way, up 0.21%. Okay, and we got it just kind of pulled back. It just slowed down a little bit because tech was just getting kind of insane, right? Semis, Nvidia up, right? Broadcom just off the map, right? Just to say a couple there, right? AMD kind of getting some momentum there, right? Blah blah blah, right? So it needed to kind of calm down a little bit here, right? Nasdaq did not pop out a new high yesterday. Today, potentially high probability that it potentially could. We'll see how the tip offers here. But again, yeah, just riding that 20-pip moving average. Small body based candles here, starting to break out, right? Starting to break out. Yesterday we did not get a new high breakout. 23,424 still remains the all-time high in Nasdaq futures. All right, but that's a couple. We just touched that right below that a couple of points. Right, maybe like an hour or two ago, give or take. Right, so put that into perspective. All right, I'm not much of a Dow Jones guy. No offense to anybody who is. That's awesome. But in small caps, I love me some small caps here and there. But they're trying to work out something there. But I love the S&P complex, and Nasdaq would be a hot close second to that. I will switch over to the monthly, weekly, daily. A lot to cover and never enough time. Monthly, weekly, daily, just to show you the lay of the land for folks here. No matter what, even if you're a short-term scalper in futures or even a short-term scalper and even trading options, okay, you still need to know where you are on the higher time frames, monthly, weekly, daily, that is. And in regard to that, I have the 60-minute time frame here. All of you Rip Tape, Lone Wrangler, Chicago, my man Eric Say is in the house on YouTube. Jace, Alexander, Morning Legend, what's going on? Jace, Brian, Eric, good morning. Where is the COG? Got a 60-minute time frame upper left. Got a day 30-minute bottom left. 5-minute here in the middle, followed by the 2-minute time frame over there on the hard right edge. 1 hour time frame here. Overnight futures, S&Ps, gray space, overnight session. So nice, beautiful rip yesterday, right? Nice fall, beautiful fall through. Went like really. We kind of dropped down in the morning yesterday, right? Kind of just went quiet a little bit there, but was doing some nice work here, just basing. And then now the team, ended up getting long SP futures, SPY, SPX. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it just popped, right? It just popped, and we had some fall through here. Caught up. Hopefully, y'all caught a nice little pullback too to re-add into some spies in SPX. I still got that options expiration right here. This option went from like $1 to like $9. I didn't chase it. Got some spies on this, and then I was mentioning to the team yesterday, wait for that pullback. Wait for a deeper pullback into that SPX 63.45s. I remember called this out. Went back down into the $2.40 mark, give or take. $2-3. Went down to like $1.90, give or take. I got in at $2.40 and took this bad boy up to back up to like $6. And I think I got like $9.80 or something like that for the second run late day yesterday. So this is the SPX long call 6345 strike yesterday. That was yesterday's news yesterday. But just to show y'all real quick, that nice little pop there, right? Again, bull market. We had this all-time high yesterday that I was mentioning, and I'm like, you know what? We tagged that overnight. We already pulled back off that. As we start to come back up into that, just be careful because there's a higher probability chance that this thing could just go pop new high. All right, and it could just be a little pop new high real quick and give a mean revert. Okay, but this thing pop new high, reverted, and then take off into another leg higher there, if you will. We talked about these. If anybody who is trying to sell short the all-time high, okay, it did kind of pop down a little bit there, worked out a little bit there. But anybody who's still trying to hold those shorts, okay, or trying to work on those shorts, they have a buy to cover order at some point, which would be a buy order. And if the market starts to rally, they would be squeezed out or buy to cover. As now new buy to enters are starting to come into the market too, in there before we get that pop. Okay, that was yesterday. So let's update today. Now we have a new Globex high here today, which is right there. As you can see, there's the overnight high. The first thing that we do process every single morning. There's the Globex low. And this is setting up nicely today because if you kind of missed yesterday's move, okay, well, we have what? An all-time high, right? Supply, just a quick little tag right there, top pop, okay? And then we finally broke up, right? So this is now left what's called an impulse basing impulse, IBI, right? Right below that level of Globex low right there. So I like this Globex activity, if you will, trading activity here because it's a nice tight range. It is holding up in the upper third. Okay, so in the event that we break the Globex low, what I'm looking for is an institutional level of demand below the Globex low. If I look down left, we do have a nice little decent level right here. Okay, and that comes in at or around, give or take, price point 6377. This is what's known as a institutional demand level below the Globex low for a G trap long. Good job, Lone Regular. Yeah, the team did good yesterday. Which is good. That's why I do this. Changing lives, baby. Changing lives. Another level here. A little bit of obvious level here, so you might want to go a little. It could be a little bit of a liquidity sweep there, but we have levels on levels down in here. But I'll just reference this level here too as well. I mean, we do have a little bit of a drop basing in the rally here. This was a retest over here. But this would be lower anyway. So I still would want to reference the 63, call it 55 handle in the S&P futures. Okay, still would want to reference that as well. SPX, taking SPX options from $1.10 to $7. Let's go. Asymmetric risk, baby. Asymmetric risk. What does that mean? All right. Pretty clean. Pretty clean. All right. Pretty clean, pretty clean, pretty clean. Okay. I'm not going to go back in time and talk about all this stuff over here in the past, blah, blah, blah. We talked about this. Hit Globex traps, hit Globex trap. Okay. Here's our new one here for today. 6377. Okay. And then also 6355. Decent little G traps. Potentiality down here. NASDAQ, I'm not even going to reference sell short to open. Okay, we would need the strategy would be we would have to break the Globex side, and we need an objective level of supply above left. Okay, to sell short and lean against into. We don't have that, so it really doesn't really qualify. Okay, so we just got to be careful with that. Right now, we could take a bit of an intraday trade short. Okay, as things potentially unravel intraday. Okay, but as far as the strategy in regard to the futures Globex trap strategy, okay, the rules are violated, so therefore we can't take a G trap somewhere up here. Okay, so we have to use options for that to be the case. Okay, so I just can't put a magical make-believe land up here, okay, and paint something, okay, as markets open. And in the event that we rally, I'm going to be checking options to see what is above, okay, in terms of market maker exposure gamma to lean against that. All right, but here I am talking to advance. Let me slow this down a little bit here. Mr. Black always tells me, "You scare people, Mr. Blue." Well, I'm not that scary. Not really. NASDAQ 1 hour time frame here. Touch the all-time high. If anybody managed to snag that, good luck. I mean, a good job. You're lucky that S&Ps blew out yesterday, just blew out to the upside, right? NASDAQ did not. A little bit more weaker, still strong, but weaker than relative to the S&P 500 for now. Okay, as the kids would say, don't sleep on NASDAQ, right? So here's S&P, NASDAQ futures, right? It was yesterday's Globex high, Globex low, and boom, right? We broke below this right yesterday, right? Beautifully. I actually took a NASDAQ short really quickly, TP, really quickly, right? Right? And then kept the S&Ps clear because it was more stronger yesterday, and then we went, and then ended up getting stopped out of NASDAQ, okay, at break, in profit or at break even, give or take, okay, on those long puts, and then it flipped along S&P futures and I'm sorry, S&Ps, and we got that rip. Now the point I'm trying to make here, that was at Globex low yesterday, and then again, like I'm mentioning here, we have an impulse basing impulse. This was already tested one time over here to the left, and even yesterday we came right down again to it again second time. I said super aggressive G trap long 23,150. Okay, yesterday's low is literally 23 like 145. Worked out again. Okay, for the second time. That was the low yesterday, and then we just popped up. Okay. So, I mean, that was yesterday, right? I like to keep that lines on there just there for a moment just to show folks, the phantoms, they like to see kind of the pre and post as well, right? Like to take pictures of your charts, etc., right? To continue to learn the skill set and get better and adapt. Therefore, but today, now we have a new Globex high right there, okay? That's the overnight high so far. Here's the overnight low. All right. And what I'm looking for, here it is right there. And what I'm looking for is institutional level of demand below the Globex. So if I look down and left, okay, I do have a decent little level right here, right? There's kind of like two of them in here, similarly to the S&Ps. There is the Globex low, so I need to be below here. All right, so just kind of put this level like this, where this could be potentially used as a potential G trap. We're talking about G trap in due time with at Phantoms, 23,230s down to 22,200s. Now, if I kind of scroll back a bit here, time frame. If in the event that this would be kind of the lower range for the week. Now, if we do, now remember this level, impulse basing impulse right here, got tested once, got tested again twice over here. So this is not prime or fresh. So in the event that NASDAQ does give out below the Globex low and this level does give out and go lower, okay, this is going to be a battle test here, but this has been tested a couple times. So just be aware of that, okay? And so in the event that this level does happen to potentially give out today, right, it may no, have a plan if it does. And if it doesn't, then okay, great, it doesn't happen, right? But have a plan too. If it does, what are you going to do, right? So therefore, if we do snap this level, we do have a couple of another daily low right there, and I have a liquidity sweep below that daily level right there, and I got NASDAQ price point 23,050, okay, down into 22,999. Okay, that's a daily low here highlighted in blue, okay, and you can put some entry orders, okay, down in here 23,050, okay, and 22,999, okay, as people are potentially chasing shorts down into the level of demand in the context still of an overall uptrend on the markets. There is where we have potentially have a D trap, okay. So I would pyramided scale in starting at 23,050, and I would allow this thing to get deeper down, lower, all the way down into the area of the 22,999. Call it 980s, give or take. Looking at that level right below that daily low right there for liquidity sweep. All right, 9:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time already, so I got to keep it kind of flowing already. Yeah, AVGO went berserk. Shout out to Modi. Phantom member there, GC, gold continuing its kind of range. It was looking like it wants to kind of get aligned to the monthly, the weekly, daily, up. It's coming down deeper into this, still in a kind of range overall. It's trying to work out in regard to get lined to get like really alignment on monthly, weekly, daily, higher time frames, alignment up. Okay, and that's still kind of in the midst of working. We talked about this 34 up here, right? Just be careful, wait for gold to kind of potentially come down to build some longs. Okay, and we had a couple levels in here. I don't know if anybody's accumulating into gold longs, but we had 3 levels here that we even kind of planned yesterday: 3385, 3375 into the 3360, kind of 3 levels of kind of I would say intermediate demand. Okay, not bad here. All right, so we can see how deeper this pullback. Again, we could still kind of go lower in this lower range. I have to say that, right, because of the condition. All right, but try to stay the course here. Now we're starting to get down in this lower point of the range. Okay, on the monthly, weekly, dailies, and we'll see how gold is going to pan out here. Okay, right now I'm still would be in the camp of accumulation into longs. So as long as we're holding this upward structure. Okay, high, low. All right, so GLD is like coming down back down here, just back to this kind of like mid range. Okay, so I got monthly here, weekly here, daily here. So you can see we're just kind of just kind of going sideways. There's nothing else. There's no other way to put it. All right, a little bit of a triangle here. We could be see if we can try to get a pop on there. Right, the accumulation longs down here. All right, that could fail. We could go lower. All right, I mentioned that a couple times on the weeklies. We still have at or around down here too. All right, so we're low range on the intermediate time frame, like the small time frames, but on the monthlies and weeklies, this would be low range down here. All right, so we're just kind of like back in the mid range here. Unfortunately, on gold, it's just kind of popping and weaving back and forth. All right, let's see. Let's move on here. Let's start with the VIX. We got a VIX 15. At the moment, markets are super complacent, no fear on the horizon at all. But that's when you got to be a little skeptical. When markets get too complacent, you got VIX down here, VIX down, market up, VIX up, market down. Inverse correlation. We're going to map this out on the smaller time frames as well. A lot more to VIX, the implied vol of SPX 30 days out. But typically, okay, yesterday, right? What was happening in the VIX all day yesterday, right? Just give it right, even overnight, down, floating down. So VIX down, market up. Okay, VIX up, market down. So yesterday the VIX was just letting us know. In fact, I attributed the VIX. I thanked the VIX very, very kindly of giving me confirmation to get long the S&P complex yesterday, right before that first just pop. Options exploded to the upside in a favorable way for Phantoms members. And I thanked VIX for that, because right before I entered that trade, I looked at VIX, and VIX was just crashing down on lows. All right, crashing is not a great word, but dropping down pretty, I would say, put in a stance, right, lower, which allowed ourselves as professional traders to give us more probability that this market could have a higher probability to pop higher. Okay, so we'll see if VIX spikes, and just stays higher and go up, takes the overnight high out and remains a bit more higher and trending higher. Okay, on spikes, but it continues and follows through. That could be more bearish for the market, at least for the day. Okay, if we could just continue to stay down here and park, or maybe spike up a little bit, but kind of unravel down and kind of unwind back down. Okay, that again could just still be more bullish for the market. Okay, at least for right now. Okay, or at least sideways. All right, VIX, inverse correlation. So we got, what else we got here? Spies. All right, weekly on left, daily here. Give me signal on gold. Say please. Say please. Where's your manners? I got weekly on the left, daily in the middle. It's got just got a 2-minute time frame here on the right, real quick. So spies basically are going to be 13 minutes before open. Okay, not really a gap up or gap down. All right, so therefore SPX implied open, give or take here. Let's see, at or around here 635.8, 60 to 55, give or take, plus or minus 5. Right? Why do I say all that? Well, I got the options depth here, right? Options that I got market maker options market maker. Gamma exposure here to the left. I got the strike prices here, and I got charm over here. To keep a short story long story short, I'll look at the opening price, give or take, or at or around. Okay, as I mentioned, I'll just use 6.355. Okay, 6.355 at or around there, 60, give or take, right? 6.355 or 60. That takes us to about like right here, give or take, right, in market maker land, right? And what I'm looking for is positive or negative GEX, right? So blues and greens are positive gamma, and red and yellows are negative gamma. Don't have enough time to explain that right now. However, key takeaway here is that 6,400 along with the 6,420 handle is a lot of strong color or deeper color here in terms of pigmentation. So we have a strong gamma here. So that 6,400 is going to be pretty interesting here today. Market makers are sold options here. All right, so sold gamma. All right, so we'll see. So if we potentially get up to 64, it's going to be pretty. Or if we get above, I say 63.90. Okay, we could kind of sift up and reach out into 6,400. Okay, some resistance could potentially come in at 64.10s with that positive gamma node there. All right, if we go lower, okay, we have a couple of positive gamma nodes down in here in these greens. Okay, not really strong. There's a little bit of a negative gamma node between 63.80 down into 63.70. Okay, and that would be a little bit of what's called a negative GEX, which could kind of fall through price point lower down into potentially the 63.50. Okay, so we got some stuff above, we got some stuff below. Sounds like a normal day. As markets open, I'll kind of you got to kind of know how options work and how market maker gamma works. It's a pretty heavy topic. So I'll kind of leave it there for right now. Some of my phantoms know kind of what I'm doing here and what I'm working on here. But as the market opens, I'll try to just give you some insight as markets open up, what we're coming down into, what we're coming up into, best of my abilities with the time that I have here, just on YouTube. Okay, but this is a heavy topic here. It's a heavy topic here. So just want to take a peek at that for the folks that do know. All right, Q's. Yeah, Meta is on my list. So with futures, it'll be hard to with futures in regard to gold. With futures, this might be too wide. This might be too wide to, and even if we hypothetically came lower, this might be way too wide to get in on futures. Other than if you use micros in what's called pyramid in. I don't have enough time, 9 minutes before open to kind of talk about that. We do talk about that. What's called pyramid in. Okay. Or what you could do is you can utilize options. Okay. Use options on GLD, ticker GLD, which is the ETF of gold. And it's a little bit more different dynamic where you could have a wider area and play options, right? And take the bullish exposure in, say, for example, buying calls, for example, and therefore you won't have to be as, say, quote unquote precise as futures levels. And with futures, you could, with futures, if you have a wide zone and you have like multiple zones inside of a wide zone, that's the challenge with it, because you're picking which zone might work, right? And right, or if you pick the first one, you get stopped out. Should I take the second one? Maybe you take the second one, you get stopped out. Then you maybe get scared, or not scared, but maybe you're like, I don't know if this is going to work out anymore. You maybe don't take the third one, and that one is the one that kind of like works out. So you can pyramid in, right? So micros, pyramid in, and typically, if you see something like this where you have a weekly range on something like GLD, if you're playing the swing trade, right, you got to put your stop losses on the higher time frames, right? On the higher time frame. So for the swing, I really can't. I would almost have to defend this these daily lows here, right? I would have to defend these daily lows here. So that's why, in regard to options, we can play zones a bit more wider. With futures, it'll be more challenging as we're kind of coming down, still kind of just sifting out this mid range, right? You might be getting clipped out of some futures on these little levels here, right? Does that make sense? Unless you go into some kind of pyramid position sizing and use micros, okay, and take several levels, like 3 or 4 levels, what have you, as we on, like, say, the intermediate time frame, 60-minute time frame, and you can potentially build a position into this, okay. It'll look something like that, right, where you position size accordingly. All right, so more advanced strategy to deploy. All right, but if you're trading gold, what is the condition of gold over the past, I'd say, how many months have we been inside bar on the monthly? Since April, monthly on the left, bar high here, bar low here, candle high here, candle low here. We have 1, 2. This would be the third month, aka July here, right? After April, right? May, June, aka this is July now, 24th. Okay, this would be the third month that we're inside of May's high and lows on the monthlies, right? So we're getting kind of pinched here. Okay, so just know that, right? Condition in context is so critical, right? Early part of this year, gold was just on fire, fast moving trend. Right now, we got outside of 2 standard deviations of the monthly, weekly, and daily. So now we're just kind of parking up here, clocking time in a bit of a range here. Okay, so that is the condition in gold. So you can try to work on trying to build some bullish exposure as markets are trying to sift out, potentially trying to pop out that new high. Okay, but this is still right. This is still kind of not. It's not looking like it wants to. It's not prime yet to actually get fall through and go. Another thing too, to help you in regard to this. You could look at what's called gold future seasonality chart. All right, and this is comprised of like 30 years of data seasonality wise. And if you look at kind of June and July, okay, and even August, gold's not as I would say seasonality wise, not as strong, right? So gold loves to wake up in September, right? November, December into January, right? So it's just kind of hibernating for the summer right now, right? Does that make sense? Okay, that's why I was mentioning yesterday for folks. But you have to. This is still range. You have to let that come down deeper. Okay, and it's not like a fast moving uptrend, so you got to work on it that way as such. Okay, real traders understand what the condition is and how to trade around that condition. All right. We got 5 minutes to open, and that kind of backed me up a little bit there, but it's all good. Not really. It didn't back me up like that. But great questions. People have asked questions. I got to answer, right? At least some things here and there, right? All right, Qs, weekly, daily, just a 2-minute here on the left, on the right, I should say. And yesterday, hammer bar, great. Inside day yesterday, gap up on Qs, potentially here today, outside gap. I got prior days high, well, not prior days high, prior days low. That's here, but I put I kept it on the day prior on Tuesdays because that's the mother bar high, mother bar low. Yesterday was an inside day on Qs. Pop out gap here. All right, we are a little bit away from the means here. All right, so the means. So we'll see how that opens. S&Ps. One thing we have to be a little cautious on is earlier in the morning looks like it was going to gap up a little bit more. Okay, which we are a little bit here now, but we're not super stretched away from that. But we have to just watch out for a fade on these new highs. We just went over GLD there a little bit there. I'm going to skip over Apple just because it's not really doing much. We got Amazon here, weekly on the left. All right, trying to fall through here. Trying to fall through. Trying to potentially join the all-time high club at some point. Daily in the middle. All right, slightly gapped up yesterday, pulled back. Here's yesterday, inside day close, outside gap on Amazon. Okay, outside gap on Amazon. For yesterday's, but still inside of the Tuesday's bar, which is still inside the mother bar. So not as powerful. All right, decent little range yesterday at the end of the day. Slight gap up. We'll see if get some gap fill on that. AVGO beast. Fancy numbers. I was catching this yesterday. I was a little more conservative on it, which is a little not like me as much, but caught that. Caught that yesterday low here. Boom, pop. AVGO gapping up here today. All right, we're gonna be a little careful with this, right? We could pop out potential new high here. All right, but that was a quick move from yesterday's low into today's gap up here. So that's a quick move from low to high here. So there could be a little more of a mean revert potentially today. So just need to be more careful with that. Google earnings. They didn't do that well on earnings, but they did okay. They did decent, but we have a gap up on this. I don't know if anybody's in on the swing trade on this. I stayed out of the earnings, as I mentioned. That could be a bit of a gap up. We could run an anchored view up on this. Now, typically, when you get a breakaway gap like this, usually it'll continue in its move higher, right? But it might not happen the same day. So we could gap up. One of the things that I'm looking for on this is for the next day or two, or a couple days after earnings, we could kind of fade a little bit more lower, build up some traction here. Build back up and then go. Okay, so just be careful because right on the gap up, I know a lot of traders, if you caught this happen, right, you're going to be taking some profit off the open there because premiums are going to crush due to IV and all that, right? So just be patient with this this thing here with this gap up. We can run an anchored view up, and typically when you get these breakaway gaps like this, it would continue. Okay, monthly, weekly, daily is now of course lined up on Google. We've been talking about this for weeks now, where it's like go 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 go. So there's our earnings, and we've been trading Google, right? I don't know if anybody owns this in a long-term IRA or what have you, but looking good. We're only a couple of points away, right? 10 points away from the all-time high. Not too bad there, right? So we'll see. We can still continue to work on this. If you can do some credit spreads too. I digress. We have 1 minute before open, so we'll just see what more I can get through here on this. Tesla, I'll go to Tesla too, just because I had earnings, which is the next one up anyways on the list. Gap down on Tesla. All right, this is actually down 6%, give or take. All right, decent little move there. I am going to work on this where in the event, where we have a gap down. I'm going to start to sell some premium here. Okay, I'll start to sell some premium down at or around like the 290 into the 270 handle. Okay, do some credit spreads on this bigger move down just on earnings, and then the implied volatility is still going to be fairly high. Okay, so if you know what you're doing there, you can potentially sell some credit spreads below down here. Okay, and pull an anchored view up right off the open there as well for the earnings announcement. Markets open. Wanted to take a quick peek at Meta and Microsoft. Microsoft gap up. Microsoft clearing yesterday's kind of hammer bar. Switch this over to the daily on the left, 2 on the right. All right, Microsoft has Hammer bar yesterday, outside gap up. Anybody still holding on to Microsoft long calls from yesterday? I am. Let me TP some right now on those. Shout out to the team yesterday. We smacked. Those are going for $6, folks. All right. TP some, I would suggest. Bought those for $1.99 yesterday. $1.99. They're going for $6 here. TP some Microsoft. AVGO at 4-hour supply. Correction. Let me fix that for you. AVGO at all-time high supply. That could easily get smacked out. Think of the person who shorted AVGO yesterday on the red bar down. They got absolutely wrecked. They're trying to short the strongest, one of the strongest stocks in the fucking planet. Oops, we're on the planet. So just be careful with that. All right. Shorting AVGO at the all-time highs has been a losing proposition. So just be careful with that. I'm not trying to be a prick or anything like that. Yep, I got to look at some IBM, Meta. Internals. Valdi negative 900. All right, Meta's doing something that I like here. All right, Meta's actually gapped up and cleared above this red bar yesterday. We kind of spoke about yesterday in the trade room. Meta long call, folks. Man, this restream software really slows down your computer, man. Trading 721.30s here. So if I go maybe like a 35 delta, give or take, you can maybe pick up the 727 halves, so maybe the 725s evens, holes. All right. Just for the tube here, I'll go a little bit lower risk here. So I'll pick up the 727 halves, so 30 delta, give or take. These are fairly decent here. Tomorrow's expiration, just see if we can get a quick little day trade off this here this morning. Geez, sorry, folks. I mean, this thing is just it's just slowing my computer down really a lot here. So this is the 727 half strike call on Meta. They're going for about $2.50, give or take $2.40 on a long call. Yesterday's gap was around here, so you might be able to risk about maybe about $1, give or take. If you buy them at 260, maybe stop loss here about 160, give or take, just to give you some risk on this. All right, so I just picked up some Meta here. Yeah, Microsoft cranked from yesterday's open. NVIDIA doing some good things here too. VWAP test. Oh, this is so slow today. All right. Amazon, we gotta watch out. It's heavy. Man, that will be the second lack of fall through in 2 days on Meta if that doesn't go. Today we get the gap up above, so we'll see. Be patient on that a little bit there. So I went lower delta. NVIDIA trying to do a little something there, but I gotta be a little careful. This market's a little heavy here. Some positive came below here. Not strong though. There's a little bit of a negative GEX above. So interesting. Meta's pulling back inside of its opening bar print. Pretty steep. That's typically not much of a good sign. Let's see. Amazon trying to cook a little bit here too. Amazon cooking here. Let's see. Let's see AMD. AMD gets a nice fall through, better than Meta fall through up. Although COG about 159 to go. I don't want to chase too much, but AMD looking good. Amazon as well. Meta battling that opening day print. Man, this is so slow today. I don't know. I'll just pick up these 232s here. I'm going to be a little careful. These are on highs. I would be TPing, but I got to go low delta here on Bezos here, Amazon. Yeah, Lismo. I do like the gap up. It's just kind of it's failing so far off of it. Oh my God, this is terrible today, folks. Usually it's a little slow when I do restream here, but today is bad. Like I'm already on my next in my brain. I'm already on my next like 3 clicks, and it's like, wait, hurry up. Yeah, if you can fathom the risk, I mean, this would be that point of risk if you wanted to get out of that, or soon to be like $1 of risk, right? They're going for $1.46 right now, whichever your purchase price was of that call. You can't lose no more than what you paid for that, but you have to be okay with with that risk. It's gonna be a little careful with bullish exposure, at least for right now. Man, those AVGOs went berserk yesterday. And maybe you. Breaking down a little bit here on this. So I'm going to be careful with bullish exposure here. This is Amazon, right? Oh, this is AMD. AMD just pulled back into its VWAP here. Let me grab this. It's going to be Amazon here. Oh my God, this is so slow. Come on, this is killing me. AMD, NVIDIA. Just got Amazon. Cumulative tick. All right, I'm gonna get long call on the video here. Amazon up. You could TP some. TP some Amazon. Be patient with Meta. Internals are not on fire today. Let me check the SPX equal weighted. All right, so that's what pop on. That's what pop. Good job, Blessing, working AMD pit. Tesla trading 304s. TP some more Amazon here. I'm looking to add to Meta. Adding to Meta. adding to Meta. Meta added. All right. Give me signal now. Give me signal now. Only about me. TP Amazon. Internet creeps. What do you do, trade? Give me signals now. TP Meta. I mean, TP, you could TP Meta a little bit there, depending on your average fill, but TP Amazon here. Give me signal, gold. It go up or it go down, Mr. Blue? I don't know. But I thought you were a trader. No? Do it now. Give me signal. You trade stock market? Is it a good time to buy Amazon now, Mr. Blue? No. TP. Jeffrey Bezos. Jeffrey Bezos. Okay. Yo, S&Ps are just to the moon. Holy smokes. Top coming in. It's getting too nutty. SPY's just clipped higher. Creeding higher. AVGO about to pop. Looking like we could TP some Zuck here. All right, TP some Zuck. Hit it. Do you trade markets? Can't even imagine how many people get margin called on shorts. Nuts. It's a Bezos and Zuck party today. Okay. Amazon, Jeff Bezos' bald head here is poking up a weekly high. We bought lower, we buy low, and we need to do what? Sell. Say it with me. We buy low, sell. TP some Bezos here. All right, lock that in. We got approaching a weekly high in all seriousness, right? Jeffrey Bezos. What do we say at Phantoms? Pesos from Bezos? Take the pesos from Bezos here. All right, stop loss could be at break even now at this point, right? All right. Oh, actually, save 1 penny a little bit lower. Just gave up like 50 cents here, give or take 40 cents. All right, still in some here, and stop break even on this. Mr. Blue, give me signal now. I just woke up 5 minutes ago. Give me something now. Give me signal. There's hundreds, if not thousands, hundreds of people at Phantoms, but I don't care about anybody else. Just give me signal right now. Only me. Strategy has plenty of signals, but the problem is you don't listen to it. And you think you know what's going to happen next. And you completely ignore the strategy and the signal, and you do what you think. So even if I did give you the strategy, you'll still mess it up because your mind ain't even right. I already know the mistakes that 99% of y'all already go through before you even make. I already know your mistake before you make your own mistake, and I'm on the other side of it. How's that for a signal? When you're nervously about to click that button to see if you're right or wrong, I'm confidently clicking a button, not giving a crap, and just trading an edge. Okay. Reduce some meta. I would suggest I'm going to hold some of that. I like that gap. We talked about this yesterday. Pinsky. I don't know if Pinsky's in the house here on YouTube. Dylan, but call him Pinsky. But Meta does have a clearing gap above that. If we can close green bar above there, is that a positive COG back above monthly VWAP, back above the 20 EMA? Is that alignment, team? Indeed, for Phantoms members, right? Indeed. Now we have all day today, right? It's only 9:52 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We had news come out. I didn't even know what news was. I mean, I knew it was coming out, but I'm just trading the tape anyway, so I completely even forgot about the 9:45 news. I know some of y'all are probably looking. I'll look what the news happened and how it's going to affect price, and I just TP'd from Amazon to Meta. But well, I gotta. What's Meta looking at right now? 220s. That's Amazon 240s. So, anyways, I'm gonna hold this, right. TP Tom took some profit. I mean, these are still good, but what I was trying to say there was on the daily time frame here, in regard to Meta. Yeah, Daniel King, I like your thought process there, buddy. Yeah, we've been talking about Meta for some time now. Within impulse, basing impulse on the weeklies here, kind of a wide zone here, so we kind of drilled down, right? Blah blah blah, right? And then finally get this red bar here. Yesterday, I took a trade off this. I was wrong on Meta yesterday, right? I took $1 something loss on it, right? Okay, no big deal, all right? It fall through didn't happen, right? It was an inside day, right? But today, okay, there's a daily time frame on the left. We closed there yesterday. We gapped up today. We gapped above this red bar, clearing this here. So if we kind of hold this bullish stance on Meta, that could be a good thing here. The only caveat, and you might want to put this into your equation, if you will, is that our markets in the S&Ps and the NASDAQ, are we pretty high? Are we pretty high? We are, right? We are pretty high. So the only thing about that is that the S&Ps and the NASDAQ kind of get a little bit too high, and it starts to go in a little bit more of a just calm down, right? I'm not saying like maybe drop or crash, but just kind of calm down a little bit there, right? A couple inside days or sideways, some swipes and all that. The timing with the S&Ps might not be as great for Meta to be like kind of that pop there. Okay, does that make sense, right? So you always want to start from, just like how we talk in Phantoms, we talk about multiple time frame analysis, top-down approach, start from the high time frames down to small time frames. Okay, in regard to the overall markets, you have the indexes, S&P and the NASDAQ. Okay, and then you have sectors, right? And that would be the upper hierarchy, right? Indexes. Then we have sectors like the financial sector, technology sector, healthcare sector, right? Communication sector, so on and so forth. We break that down by sectors. And then individual sectors, we have individual stocks within a sector, right? I think Meta's in the communication, XLC sector, right? So the point that I'm trying to make is if the indexes are fairly kind of like high, and just need to calm down a little bit here, that might just hold Meta, I wouldn't say now down, but it might not just be the prime alignment for it to pop up. But okay, you put that in the equation just a little bit there. But trading setup and trading the tape, in the event that we do get green bar close here, okay, above this red bar over here, above this red bar, that would be a positive COG. back above the 20 pay moving average when things are now more aligned, right? So impulse, here's the correction. Daily's giving us a little low, a little high. I think somebody mentioned here earlier today, there's like some sort of 4-hour supply here or something like that, or meta supply, and there is, right? And they're not wrong about that, right? We have a level here, but is this a supply level on the daily, maybe 4-hour time frame supply? But are we in an overall context on the monthly and weekly in regard to trend? Are we in a monthly uptrend or a monthly and weekly uptrend or a monthly and weekly downtrend? Here's the weekly, here's the monthly. Okay, so monthly still up, weekly still up, pulled back actually for the past 3 weeks into weekly demand. Okay, and then of course weekly demand is going to be daily demand as well. Got a couple levels in here as mentioned, and so there's supply here, and it's reacting off of that a little bit here. But if the buyers really start to right, notice how this would be a positive COG. Green bar closed above red. Okay, on a daily time frame, decent back above the 20. Okay, buyers are trying to pick this up. So if this supply level gets absorbed, okay, Meta's more aligned to the upside, and that could have a high probability chance to pop up due to that higher time frames. All right. All right, back above the 20 EMA on the daily. We're on it above it on the 60, right? On the 30, above it. 5, above it. 2, above it. Monthly, weekly, daily, up, above the positive, above the right, above the 20 and 200. All right, why did I add the meta? All right, well, we have what? Green bar, take out red bar, above VWAP, that white line, 20 EMA, 200 EMA, 3 lines, 2 colors, don't care, right? Strategy, alignment. All right, we're going to take all day for that. Of course, daily bar close. We'll see. In the meantime, right now, we need to TP some meta, not meta, Amazon. Why? Because we have another new equal to new high into that weekly supply. All right, TP some more meta. Why do I keep saying that? Amazon. And back above the monthly VWAP too. So inside bar breakaway gap up. So we'll see. Just continue to work on it. Potentially, right? Let's see where we at. Amazon. Good eye, Neil. Microsoft setting up a bit here. I get the first dividend print here. Maybe. Call me maybe. So here's my strategy. Call me maybe. It's hard trade. I don't know what I'm doing. But I'll make money maybe. So call me maybe. Yeah, Nazi's just a little heavy. Bar open here. There's a decent little positive COG. Decent little setup here. Let's check VIX. At around those cumulative, trying to curve over a little bit there. Advanced declines improvement for what it's worth there. Still negative. Vol D still negative. So in the background, it's not really cooking, so be a little cautious. Right. Healthy, what's the word am I looking for? Healthy patient skepticism. But there is a positive COG there on Microsoft. Meta is begging for another ad. Fall through here. Third bar, nice print on 30s. VWAP tag. Hammerbar. Now you can add to the 727s. If you'd like that. All right. I don't like that immediate. I didn't do it yet. I didn't like that immediate failure right there. So again, folks, just be a little patient on here. The internals are not. What's the word? Internals are not cooking right now as much. Right. You trade markets? Give me signal now. It's developing, bro. Man, we're in a negative Gex regime. Stay strapped. What does that mean? Take class. I got to sneak in a Tesla. Damn, IV wasn't even that high. The implied moves on the Mag 7 this earnings cycle is very low. I don't know if credit would make that much sense. It's so low in terms of IV. The 80 and 50. High on day fade. Spies are trying to work on something here for a bit of a pop. The Mag 7. Mag 7 lately has been every stock for itself. You better know how to trade these days, man. Well, any days, but the Mags. I know the meme coin. I know the meme stuff is hot right now. So all the degenerates, all the apes are having fun online. That's nice, though. That's cool. Let's see, spies. VIX hovering on its lows. We could have a potentiality for a low probability pop here on spies, SPX, if you will, S&P futures. High probability, but keep it fairly low risk here. See if we can try to get a pop here. Internals are not cooking like that, folks. So yesterday's pop. So we snagged some like long calls on spies here for $1, 365s here. Internals are not cooking though, so just be patient with this. Let's see. I will get you. This is 0 DTE long call spies at the money 635s, going for about $1.08, give or take on premium. And let's see, come over here. Yeah, stuff's cool. Don't get me wrong. I have my fair share of kind of high risk degeneracy sometimes in like a separate account. I would never put my long term wealth. I love Bitcoin. This is SPY long calls. But yeah, these are like fun times sometimes where you got all the like retail pumps. It's awesome. I love it. Full send this. All right, I'm not sure. This is most likely not going to follow through. I don't trade my feelings at all, but I could just almost tell because the internals are not popping insanely aggressive today. So this is most likely going to be wrong. But if we, let me see, you don't want to stop out. We're going to stop out here. If I have this VWAP, where's my daily VWAP? Meta pushing back a little bit there. Pretty decent on the pullback. So we need that daily bar to sustain above. We need a green bar close. But we're not going to get that verdict until 4 p.m. Eastern today. So this is a long call, but this is most likely going to be wrong. We're getting a VWAP test right now. So in fact, this will be the place to potentially add to that. All right, just added there on that. And let me get it over here as well. All right, a little heavy. I think this is it's at around those, but on a little bit of an uptick. So yeah, cumulative tick lower. So I'm going to be extremely careful with that. That might be just a quick little stop out loss real quick. Okay. If that's the case, I won't end this stream until I get a verdict on that for you folks. All right. Amazon pulling back, of course, we unloaded there. Meta. If you're working on that weekly setup, that's still kind of not unraveled because we have to kind of see how the day closes today. Right now would be at around the area where you would want to add it to that on that retest on the retest of a prior day bar high. If you were looking for a potential holding that for the potential swing. Where are you, Meta? All right, that intermediate supply is tagged. All right, so we'll see. Pull back down here. Okay, I'll check that out. All right, we got to stop out a SPY. Out. Knew that was going to be wrong. Oh, no, that was Meta. No. No. Look at how slow. Look at how slow that thing creeps down. That's how slow my computer is working right now. It's like terrible. Let's see. Out of SPYs. You got to get out. Come on, computer. I knew that was wrong there. Heavy on the indexes. Careful with bullish exposure, okay? Out. SPYs. This signal was wrong. Mr. Blue, you suck. No. Damn it. I got to find out a way to have every trade be a winner. The journey continues. I'm going to add to Meta. Come on, computer. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Add. There we go. Meta. Add. I see you great people in here putting in a couple tickers. I should probably be looking at a couple of those. The one thing I will say about other tickers like MCO or like GI, I'll look at those. The options are most likely probably not as liquid, so I'd have to like kind of check that out. So The reason why the Mag 7 I try to trade more around orientation around that in regard to options, day trading options, is because these are the most liquid options. And this is just killing me. Like, I'm gonna have to end the stream because I can't work like this right now at the moment. I don't know, for whatever reason today, this stream, I have nothing on this computer. It's just my stream computer. There's some documents and brokerage platform downloads it, but this restream just takes so much out of the computer. Anyways, talking out loud, who cares? Breaking down a little bit here. Now, if you would want to, it's not that much weaker. Where's the, well, I almost don't want to open up this book right now because I have to end the stream. Where's Amazon? Mark Wahlberg, hacked by Russian. You trade, Mr. Blue. Give me signal now. All right. Be careful with spies. Be careful with these flushes, these flush lowers. We were a little kind of quote unquote stretched, if you will, there off the open. So that's why I just took a loss on SPY, a couple cents there, right? Nothing too crazy for me to scratch back. Working on so Amazon good there, right? Meta kind of working on that play, and I'll continue to trade here. I was going to check out the S&P futures real quick in regard to if my phantoms know. Could have bypassed that long just because I kind of knew it was going to come, kind of come back down a little bit stretched away. We need a little bit more come down a little bit there on S&Ps. So the S&P futures 1 hour time frame here. We just pull back inside, still inside. We're still inside of the overnight range. All of that, right? So just be careful. All right, already took one shot here for a breakout to the upside here, failed. All right, I could still unravel and continue to go here, right? It could be another re-entry. Okay, and I'm okay with that. Okay. But I cleared the risk on it because in the event that we swipe lower, I wanted to reduce my risk and maybe set up for it. Just because I got stopped out of a long doesn't mean I'm going to go short, right? But in the event that we kind of did like flush out a little more lower, and don't forget about the pre-market prep with those G traps, so on and so forth, right? So 6377 in S&P futures, that'd be the setup there. Long day. That was all day today, right? 10:20 Eastern is where the time is right now. Currently, yesterday about 1 o'clock, give or take, is where we had that pop there. So if I were to take that level, yesterday being 1 o'clock, at or around there, 1 o'clock is about where I here. So this level on SPYs would be associated or connecting the parallels, if you will, to the S&P futures G-trap long. SNC Con. I'm assuming you mean Tesla long at 294, not 394. It's decent down there. It's decent. VIX back on lows. So I just needed to be a little bit more patient on that. So this is a bull 180 right here. I took a small loss on that there. That would be the G trap. That would be SPX. Where are we at on SPX on that? So I want to get you. This would be to break the awkward silence here as my computer is dragging ass right now. Are those, for my Phantoms official members already, are those futures G traps on the S&P and NASDAQ and even like gold and oil? Are those G traps extremely powerful? Yes or no, Phantoms team? Mark's 31. Happy birthday to you. Let's sing happy birthday to my man Mark. Is that Mark Wahlberg? Phantom member. Future GOAT. Happy birthday, brother. 1 year into your 30s. Testosterone dropping. What'd you say, bro? You talking about my team? Happy birthday to you, sir. That'd be SPX out around 6340 handle. What does that look like on the OD? Options depth. 6340, 6330. Let's see. Not much of a level in terms of GIM, but we do have some blue down here. So it'll be a bit of supportive. But if I look at the actual, I gotta reduce this range here. Yeah, I'm not quite in my 40s yet. I'm sweating over it a little bit, but all right. Well, that was supposed to update, but it didn't. 40's nothing crazy down here, so I want to see. We got some supportive charm at 6340. A little bit of a gamma note in here. There's a little something there, 42.5. We got something there. Not huge, but decent. It's all negative GEX here. But we're just parked right now on it. So we gotta have to understand GEX. So just be cautious on this. Negative GEX or gamma regime, if you will, is if price does fall through one way or the other, it could kind of unravel on itself. Meaning, like if price does pop up, we could actually get some fall through within this negative gex. It could really go. Right now, we're kind of on a mean reversion right now at the moment. Okay. Like, this is what the 30-minute time frame over here. We're almost opening but the full hour here, and you can see if I go to the 1 hour bar here, for example, like a doji, right? Yeah, open, swipe lower, swipe higher, kind of back in the middle here. So it's gonna be a little patient on that. We're on daily VWAP, so I'm kind of leaving you like right when the S&Ps are kind of balanced for the day inside of a negative gex regime. So you might have you just wait. We are dead all night from yesterday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is what it's done. Sideways, nothing. Even right now at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, still right there, dead smack in the middle there. So you might want to wait for some kind of like liquidity. Right? Does that make sense? Right, this is the S&P futures right here doing absolutely nothing sideways here. So keep an eye out on it. Right, positive COGs over here. Potentially try to go for another little potential second play here in the event that unravels. Wait for power closings. If we do swipe lower, okay, just be careful. There might be a little bit of gain to be made if it does drop down a little bit here lower, but be careful with that 6377 as that is going to be a nice little G trap there. And don't be the person or the trader who's chasing price lower, down, selling short into a level of demand in the context of an overall uptrend. Trap. So that's been happening with G traps all over the place over here, right? So that's what you're gonna almost have to do there. That's the way it works sometimes. Microsoft basing kind of setting up a little bit there. Broadcom poked out a quick little new high, dropped down a little bit there. Right? That's okay. If you took a short off that, good. Good luck. Happy if it worked out for you, but be careful with that. Going forward, I think somebody had mentioned that. So mean revert down. Yeah, I would suggest a TP on that. You got mean revert back in the middle of the range, and the monthly daily on AVGO is insanely up. And NQ snagged the quick little new blowback flow really briefly. And this is what Joseph on the tube is mentioning right now. So it'll be an interesting day here today. Happy birthday to Mark, MCO checker. Somebody had put in the chat there. I followed off that. That was a good one. That the who's one out of theory? Well, if you want to, that's a phantom member I know. Instagram. One out of theory. I don't know if he left it right now, but the other one was what Walmart, and then GL. What was it, GI? What was it, GL? Yeah, it's finally on a break and fall through. Looks like earnings was the catalyst. This thing was inside weak for like 2 months. Pop. Looking at the monthly and the weekly and even the daily, where would the high? Does it surprise my Phantoms members in here that are trained that this popped to the upside here, regardless of whatever earnings was or is? Should not. All right. Still still right at the 20 above here, right? Inside monthly bar here, other than this month right now, which just happened today, finally broke out, right? We had an inside month, right? This is actually the multi bar here, right? So we broke out around the 20 monthly demand respected, right? Pull back, base, all on the 20, pop out, 20 EMA, above the 200, filtration processes, folks, boom, pop, right? Anyways, all right, cool. That's gonna be it for me now, folks. Recap, Meta, working on that. Depending on how much you took on or off, it could have been good, or you're in a drawdown right now, give or take. I'm playing the swing on that. TP-tum, playing the swing. I already kind of talked about that. It's recorded on YouTube. You can watch that recording if you need be. Fast forward, rewind. Amazon worked out pretty well there, right off the open there, right off the rip. So nice catch there with the team here. Cool. I still got some on. You can stop out break even now if you like. It's literally on break even if you did happen to want to stop out at break even right now. Okay. For your runners, if you still have some on. And then SPY, loser. Kind of knew that was going to be a loser. Kind of a little bit too high, a little too heavy on the S&P complex at the moment. Inside of the range of Globex, which I just spoke about before I spoke about GL and MCO. All right. But, yeah, in here, and stopped out here. We don't have those as phantoms, right? So took my little loss there, move on, realign, be patient, wait for another setup. If I see something, I take it. If I don't see something and I don't have a setup, I don't do nothing. I don't get emotional over taking a 40 to 20, 30, 40 cent loss, what have you, on that, right? It's part of the business. Keep losses small. When right, ride winners. When wrong, cut. All right, when you get violated. All right, violated VWAP. Note the positive COG did not fall through. So what do you do when you went wrong? You get out. All right, don't feel bad. Just get out. Get out. If the reason for your trade was violated, okay, based on a level, not on your emotion or what you think or feel, get out. But what if it goes back? Get out. It could realign back up, or it could realign and potentially give you another setup, maybe even a better setup potentially, right? That said, enough TED talking. If you're interested in Trade Phantoms, great. If not, great as well. Don't care. We're doing our thing here. TradePhantoms.com is the place to hit up here. We have a lot of Phantom numbers in here already right now. Click on register. Question from Lourdes: is a G trap a gap trap? Not necessarily. SPY's trying to pop. SPY's trying to pop there. Today being July 24th, which happens to be today, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Name, email, whatever. Click your phone number in there. You'll get sent a session here after you register. You'll be hosted by either Mr. Black or Mr. Green, sometimes both of them. And this will be the agenda on about 90 minutes, give or take. They'll show you about what Phantom is all about, first and foremost, how we operate, right, et cetera. And then this is you'll learn some stuff in there too, great. And everything with Phantoms, one-stop shop for everything: stocks, futures, forex, options, even crypto these days, right? Love me some Bitcoin, love it. Mainly the big ones like Bitcoin, Sol, and Ether, Ripple. All right, not much as like meme coins and things like that. More professional arena here, right? Income, short-term trading, all the way to, if you're just starting out, all the way to long-term wealth management. Okay. Stocks, futures, forex, options, small account, whether you're starting out small or you're managing millions of dollars portfolio, whatever, multi-directions, right? How professionals work. We all are coming from the professional side of things here, right? We're doing this for quite some time now. So help some people out. All right, folks, I'll see some of y'all Phantom members later today. Trade safe today. On the Thursdays in class, God willing, tomorrow morning, we'll finish up the week for the live sessions. But let's still carpe diem today. Seize the day today before we get to tomorrow. Fair enough. That said, I'm out. God bless. Take care. Blue out.